today's show, we have another co-working space operator. It's Monique Cherrie from Makeshift Spaces in Vancouver.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for inviting me down.
No problem. Thank you for coming in. I'm so thankful that you're on and so just like excited about it. When we were first breaking into this crazy realm of co-working, you were one of the first people that I know Aaron reached out to, and what became like really good synergy and a relationship between the two
Absolutely.
co-working spaces. And I know a lot of people were probably wondering like, oh, why would you have other co-working spaces and isn't it competition? But I think with co-working BC too, like being what's your position there?
Well, I've recently left
Yeah,
Coworking
yeah,
BC. Actually, I was on the board for about 5 years. I really believe in coworking.
yeah.
I believe in the community and bringing people together. And so I was really invested in being on that board. I just got a little bit busy in my own space. And so it kind of was a natural time for me to move away from that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's not like other industries. It's very, it's not competitive in that way. Yeah, if you're in the same neighborhood, it can be competitive. But I find that like every co-working space kind of has its vibes,
100%.
and everybody can kind of that is into co-working can pick what is the
Yeah.
vibe that they want to be a part of. So like really, we've never looked at it as a competition. I mean, look where we are now. Technically, we're residing out of what used to be our competition. But in reality, the networking and the community aspect of co-working is what brought this together for us. So it just shows that it's just a different ideology of people that work in this industry, right?
You know what? I have to be honest. Every time someone comes into my space, probably, slap my hand as being a business owner. I probably shouldn't walk this path. But
Uh,
every time someone comes in, I'm like, it's really important that you visit multiple spaces because, you need to see where you fit. Each space gives something a little bit different, like absolutely what you were saying. And, I don't think there's two that are the same.
no, there isn't.
It's just depends on who's running it, depends on the events that are happening in the space, it depends on the community and the people and the makeup and the area.
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely believe that's important to look around and see what we all have to give.
Yeah, and I think like it's a huge industry, but there's so many different types of people running those businesses. I know you're more of a hands-on person.
Hmm.
Me and Aaron, same thing, hands-on on the business. A lot of people think this industry kind of runs itself, like you just have a building, you rent it out, and
Yeah.
those places call themselves co-working, really isn't.
Yeah.
But this is a 24/7 gig, basically. Uh, I wouldn't say pleasing, but just like making your members just appreciate what you are giving to them in the space, not just being a physical space. It's
Yeah.
way more than that.
100%. I was just talking about this recently that, one of the greatest things for me, and I am very hands-on. I am kind of like the anchor for everybody that's in my space. Like, I think people don't just buy my space, they buy me as well.
Yeah,
It's just because it's a small space. It's boutique-y. It's about 4,300 square feet. So there's definitely everybody's very worky and kind of doing their own things. But, we talk around the cooler. We have a beer together
yeah.
and that sort of stuff.
Just so appreciative of this industry. I was my eyes open to it when we first started it. Obviously we were new to it, but just seeing how supportive everybody is in the industry, as well as like we knew Jacob and Katie that helped us out tremendously in the beginning. You helped us out. We went to a few. I think we went to a couple of your events just
Yeah.
to kind of get the vibe of everything. We loved your space.
Yeah.
Absolutely, just could feel that more homely vibe to it too. Like just like the people that are part of that are just there. They're to get business done, but they're also there for that community aspect and being part of something so much bigger than just going to work.
Yeah.
And that's what I think like this industry as a whole is just so different. Like it is a crazy, it's a hard sale to make people like that worked in an office for years and years and years during that COVID got sent home and they're working from home now.
Oh, yeah.
If they're not going back to that office where they're like the physical office that their business resides at, what is that selling point to make them get out of their house again? Whether it be like they need to because it's just not big enough, or like, but like the hard part is making somebody actually believe that they're better off in an office and wanting to pay money out of their either their own pocket or through an allowance through the company they're working for to become part of this place, like what is that sale? Why would somebody want to do that when in an extra cost to work, essentially?
You know what? It's funny, like during COVID, particularly when work from home, just, that whole movement happened. And I had many people saying to me like, oh my God, what are you going to do? And co-working, how are you guys going to get by? And I'm like, actually, that's how co-working was born.
Yeah.
I mean, case in point, my husband and I were both working from home. And I was like, I'm around my husband like 24 hours a day, but I looked at him one day and I'm like, one of us has to go. I'm pretty sure it's you.
Yeah.
And so, we went out and started looking for co-working spaces. And, I'm very extroverted. So being
Yeah.
at home at first was, oh, it's amazing. I got up every morning. I did my yoga. I cleaned the house a little bit. And then, all of a sudden those became distractions. And then on top of it, I was missing that connection with other people. And so it ended up being, it was a wonderful fit because we were looking, there was a backlog and not as many spaces then available to rent. And there was a backlog of 6 months in
Yeah.
Vancouver proper. So we were like, wow, this sounds like a great time to open a co-working
Yeah.
space, which in essence it was. However, 10 months into it, COVID
Yeah.
happened. And so having a space where people were supposed to congregate wasn't amazing
Yeah.
during that time, as you absolutely know. But
Yeah.
but it was also still important. There were a lot of people, it was mental health, like,
Yeah.
just being at home every day, like young kids, whatever it was, whatever the situation is, it just didn't lend to, mental health. And
Yeah.
so I think that's another thing that co-working spaces bring. There's a lot of different things, but it's definitely 100% community.
Yeah.
So just having, that coworker, it's almost like these people all in different businesses, they're your coworker,
Yeah.
and you kind of miss that camaraderie that you have when you work in an office.
It's co-working with or having a coworker without the drama.
Yeah.
It's because like if you have multiple, like obviously the only
true.
drama in a co-working space, if there is any, is if you have a team of people that work out of your space that are like a part of the
Taking
same,
over?
yeah, no, part of their own company together. Like, but there's all obviously relationships within
Sure.
those companies that sometimes like people don't get along. People feel like people are doing less work, whatever, and that instant tension. But when you have multiple people from different businesses, if they're having bad days, they're not taking out of the people that are in the
Sure.
co-working space. It's actually like a lot of those people can help them out in ways because they're not connected to the actual problem.
Yeah.
It's like more so like I could help you problem solve it. And
Commiseration.
I've gone through. That's what like we obviously you were talking about when you opened. We were the same, but we were like even later, like a month before COVID,
Yeah.
and it was like. All these businesses, the skeleton crew of businesses and entrepreneurs we had at the space, all of them are getting hit with things that like either none of them have been hit with before, but a lot of them have been like gone through these different issues that somebody's struggling with their own business and then come forward and be like, no, have you thought about doing it this way or this
Yeah.
way? And that would
Totally.
that is the plus of a co-working space. Obviously the COVID thing, we as a startup co-working space, we wanted to do events to get people in the building, couldn't do that. But the skeleton crew of people that just couldn't work from home, like it wasn't even an option for a lot of them.
Yeah.
That brought the sense of community to us, like to just like a hierarchy. Like that was like what we needed to build off of. If we can build this like small community of like people that are always here, once the doors open and COVID's kind of calmed down, these people are like our selling point to the people walking in the door because they already see the camaraderie
Sure.
between everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
And in reality, those people that we had in the beginning are still the members today. That's the thing. Like
it's
so
amazing,
we give
right?
a lot of credit to the initial members that we had of being this community that has been built. That is literally, I don't want to give away secrets to other co-working owners, but once you find out that the community is a selling point and it's not the space, then I think it's gold. Like it's good.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a learning curve for me in the beginning because my history is I worked for insecurity. I ran a business, successfully. It was and I kind of went into co-working going, oh, I'm just going to start a business. No, that's not what it is. And just like you were saying earlier, get a building, get a space, put a desk. You could do that anywhere. Somebody could do that in their basement. They could, that's not what we do. What we do is we're creating an environment, a place that people want to come to, a place that they know they have support, a place that if they want to, they can, network or spend time with others. And, one of the one of the things that actually I take pride in is over the years, I've had a few people who came in as like freelancers or maybe it was another company and ended up working with a company
Yeah.
that they met in the space. And
Yeah.
that's actually kind of one of the coolest things.
That's the best thing.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it happens more and more. The more people like come into your space, the more it's happening and naturally happening. And not just that, like not just like working within the two companies together, like if they work, like they have their own businesses, but like actually starting off with new side project businesses with one another. Or and in industries that you never would think come together, but in reality they help each other out significantly. That's why we like when we first were building the business, really putting an emphasis on media is because now businesses bringing these people that are artists, essentially, like any kind of artists, in with these business-minded people. Now is the time that those people mesh. Like back 20 years ago, artists were starving, and it's like still there's a lot of starving artists out there, but they're needed now to help promote these businesses online with so many different kinds of media. And I mean, it's called social media. So that has become such a great part of every business that finally these people can be in one hub together, and it's just like, oh, you need graphic design work for your business. We have like basically a list of them that you can choose from that match what you're looking for. So it's just that's what it becomes, a community hub. It becomes like almost like a list of resources for all your members that like, or even like as basic as having a WhatsApp chat. That's what we have for our members, that they just like are going through something or just need to ask a question about anything. It's like, oh, I'm having problems with my taxes. Does anybody know what they'll hear? And instantly you have somebody answering that question. And it's just like, it's like, we didn't do that, but we're very proud to see like just those natural relationships blossom, that these people were working from home probably would have never met each other. And it's created, it's not only added to our community, but added to their business and grown their business, and seeing those businesses grow and grow, and almost like, you don't want them to outgrow a co-working space, but you see them get to points where they might like to move into a bigger place. But it was because of the relationships they built, or people they met, or people they met through people they met. And it's just that chain link, like just connection of just growth and you know.
You know what? Well, taking it back to when you guys first started, I mean, that's literally what happened. I mean, you guys came in the space, like it's a new industry. You're like, oh, well, what are other operators doing? We get together, we talk about it, we share resources. I mean, that's what it's all about, especially when you're alone, right? Like you just feel alone. And so it's really nice to connect with others who can, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Somebody else has already done it. So it's just really nice in business to talk to somebody else who's, more experienced or more in line with what you want to do, and you could just kind of tap into that resource. I mean, that's another bonus of co-working. Like there's so many.
There's so many.
So
what was your history before co-working?
Yeah, I worked in security. So I was 20 when I was 26-ish. It fell into this job really, and then 3 months in, I'm like, oh my God, this is a career. I better run at this. And I spent 17 years working in security. So wholesale security, where I was selling like cameras, access control. Actually, you have a customer down the street, Prism. Yeah. I'm good friends with him and have known him for probably about 20 years. So it was an amazing job. I can't speak enough. I had a lot of opportunities to grow and to climb that corporate ladder. To be honest, that was a different goal for myself when I was younger, and I just it came to a natural end. It was definitely time to move on. I was in one place for a really long time, which was interesting. I don't think I ever expected that, but when a company keeps giving you opportunities, it's a great place to stay. And so and then I was ready to branch out on my own. And so I actually, before my co-working space, had a pop-up shop downtown, which was super cool. So it was just, I had this beautiful box, it was all white, gorgeous floors, and it was like 1,100 square feet, and people would rent it out for, business launches. I had galleries in there. I had some of the most interesting businesses that you never knew existed, There's a company, I think they've changed their name, but they were called Just Because Vancouver. And they would help guys propose to their wives to their future wives.
Sounds like
So
almost like a workshop.
it was like, so they dressed up my space. They put a sign out saying it was a wine event. She walks in, he's looking like $1,000,000, pictures of their lives,
Hilarious.
photographer, and he asked her to marry her, candles and the whole thing. I was like, wow, somebody's doing that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that was like my first touch of like, doing this whole interaction with different businesses and just seeing all the amazing cool things people are doing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurial spirit in Vancouver for sure. It's deep.
It's unbelievable. And those things that you never would have thought of that people think of, and they become like huge businesses because it's just, they think outside of the box. And I'm meeting more and more of those people. That's the thing. It's once you get into this bubble, it's a totally different, just a realm of people, and it's people that are like, you just see when you see people thinking. I think that's like when you actually can see people thinking constantly. When jobs I've worked in the past, like I was in warehouse management, and it's just like people just like going through the motions of a regular day, but not thinking about what they're doing because it becomes so just like sterile and regular that it's just like there's no passion. You can't see them thinking. They're not thinking. Yeah. And then you see people come into a co-working space and you can physically see them like thinking of their next brilliant idea.
Yeah,
and it's crazy to see a lot of them just turn it on and off, and be part of the community. But then like it's part as soon as like a conversation within like walking to the bathroom or something with somebody is finished, they go up and they close a huge deal or something. It's just there's a lot of I think you said mental health, and I think that these places are literally, that's the 100%. Biggest component of like why their selling point is just because it's good for the psyche. It's just like a good place to walk into. When you walk into your day of work and it's a good thing, why would you ever want to change that?
I have to say, like I do as an owner operator, I feel like I am a little tiny part of somebody's business story. And, that's probably the most amazing thing that I get out of this. But a co-working space, and I have to talk myself into it because I will, connect with somebody who's in my space. And then I'm like, and they're like, well, we got to go. I'm like, oh, you outgrew me, or, oh, you're moving, or what's happening? And, but that is the natural evolution of a co-working space. It really is a constantly changing, morphing, environment, which, is amazing. Yeah. Somebody leaves, somebody new comes in, and, somebody has elevated or moved on or in whatever capacity. And then somebody new comes in with their fresh ideas or their, looking for connection. So, a co-working environment really is unbelievably interesting. And it gives so much, I think, not just to me, but everybody that's in the area, in the space. So, I feel pretty lucky to do what I do.
Yeah, it's I know you say like when you like lose a member or something, when it comes to like them growing or moving, that's almost like a compliment in itself when you're looking at members that you've lost that it's nothing to do with the space or you in any way or shape or form. It's literally because they have to move out of the city, move somewhere further, evolved. Or they evolved and grew their business while they were under your roof.
Yes.
So you're like, okay, no, this is exactly why we do what we do, is to help people grow. And when you see that, especially like the times that we've been open, I mean, like seeing people grow in the last few years is not something you saw much of. Most of the time I saw a lot of successful people doing worse off than they were before just because of the times. It's sad to say, but super successful people that just got hit. Everybody got hit with the same shitstorm. But it affected other industries worse. And also you feel for a lot of small businesses because they don't have the money to do what big businesses do to promote themselves in a way differently that COVID made them have to do. So you saw a lot of mom and pop shops closing down or even like restaurants that were the small businesses are like just like mom and pa's running these restaurants that had to shut down because they had no online presence or like weren't set up for these delivery apps and all these things that literally like ream these people for any of their earnings because they're
Yeah.
paying all these fees. But like you saw them all crumble.
And still, sorry, to this day, I mean,
Oh,
I feel like every time I'm in the news, another restaurant or some other wonderful, Vancouver space is
yeah,
closing. It's literally heartbreaking. I think, during that time too, when it was really more prevalent in the middle of COVID, every once in a while though, you'd come across somebody who's like, COVID's been great for me. I'm like
yeah,
crushing it. And you're just like, you know what? I'm so happy for you.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
kind of few and far in between. I'm more hearing like sad stories, myself included.
yeah,
And to see somebody actually flourish in it, just for the times, like it's just the way it happened.
yeah,
It was just nice to see that some people were being successful in that moment, because a lot of people were hurting,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, it's to start a business just before COVID happened. Like in co-working, it doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just start a
No,
place and then tomorrow it's full and everybody's amazing. Like it would be great, but that's not how it works. It takes months to kind of put that infrastructure together, to get the word out, go, hey, I have a great space, come on down, and then to kind of create your vibe.
yeah,
That takes time. And so, I, like I said before, I was 10 months when COVID hit, and so it really wasn't enough time for us. We were just starting to get our legs
yeah,
underneath us. So, people will ask me about my business, and I'm like, it's really hard to tell you, because for the majority of the time it was COVID.
yeah,
And then we came out of COVID and everyone's like, yeah, we're coming out of COVID. And like, honestly, business was amazing. We're like,
yeah,
yay.
yeah,
And then now, inflation happened,
yeah.
and you see so many people in Vancouver just struggling. Like groceries are higher, rent is
Yeah.
astronomical and through the roof. And everybody's just really trying to get by. You don't see as many people just blossoming right now. They're struggling and people are living paycheck to paycheck. So, co-working is kind of fallen down the list a little bit,
Yeah.
unless of course your company's paying for it, but
Yeah.
even companies are tightening their belts. So it's, it's definitely been a little bit more of a challenging time.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I've ever really had a normal time in co-working,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what I mean.
100%. Yeah, it was the hardest thing to ever go through, but I think it was like, as a business owner, the best crash course you can go
Yeah,
through
so
in
true.
4 years. I mean, like, it's not just that, it's one thing after the other. You said inflation, but like, what we went through with our, like, trying to renegotiate a lease with a place where they're telling you they're going to double it on, like, you're not talking about a small place, 7,000 square feet,
Yeah.
doubling your
That's crazy.
rent and plus operating costs had already doubled. Like, businesses, how are they supposed to succeed? It's not, we don't want to ream our customers to double our rent for
I
them,
know.
and just to not even just to, we're not making profit. That's just to break even, right? And it's just, you're seeing all these businesses go through that. Vancouver, I'm not there very often, much like I go down there for the odd event or whatever, but from what I understand, like, parts of it are ghost towns now, like even to this day,
Totally.
because a lot of people that were working downtown don't work there anymore because a lot of them lived not in Vancouver. They lived
Yeah.
in Burnaby, Coquitlam, and were driving down. As soon as they got sent home, they're like, hell no, I'm not going back down to Vancouver. Why would I? Now I can work from home.
Yeah.
Or they find places that are co-working spaces closer to them.
Yeah, but there's a lot of businesses right now that are pushing return to office.
Yeah.
Like RTO is mandatory. My husband works in a company like that. He has to go into the office 3 times a week, even though he works in my co-working space.
Yeah.
So that's been a bit of a unique experience. And so I think that's another thing that's really affected, co-working, is that people they're getting their office environment because of return to office and then being at home for X amount of days. So, like I said, it's just shifting, it's changing how things look. And, but that's been I'm sure it's always been the evolution, but the time that I've been in it, that's definitely been the constant changing landscape of co-working. But there's zero doubt in my mind, that it's such a huge necessity to have a community like this. So, I got the greatest job.
Yeah, it's like a somewhat new industry in North America, but like what we've found is we meet a lot of like immigrants who come here that this has like been part of their life for like 20, 30 years, where like these kinds of places were just flourishing. So we're seeing a lot of that. We have like a great program with like students from Douglas and stuff, a lot of them being immigrants as well, that like they instantly flourish in these environments because this has been a practical way of businesses running in different parts of the world for forever. But of course, North America loves branding things, and they love like credit for things, and but in reality, like this idea works, and it definitely just is. I think it's still growing. I think everybody always gets freaked out because of everything that goes on with WeWork. WeWork being
Everybody paints us with the picture of WeWork. I was just asked that the other day. Somebody was like, "Oh, are they your competitors?" I'm like, "No,
no, it's
they're not at all. They're 100,000 square feet and like multiple floors of a building, and they're giving away free
it doesn't make
kombucha."
sense. Yeah, so we see parts of what WeWork do as positives, but you don't need a rock climbing floor. You don't need you don't need
100%.
you don't need these just these kind of gimmicks that you're trying to sell your space on, when it's great and all, but there's no money to be made on 100,000 square feet place for like, how many people do you think there are? And
well, when they first started, I think they just thought they were going to own that market, but naturally, and we have to give them what they brought to co-working. They made it a global word, and but what's happened is businesses like yours and mine, right? Like I say, I call us boutique-y. We're smaller environments. And, we're individual small cultures that are happening throughout Vancouver.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a cool thing, but we're different from those kind of companies. Hey, we're both still co-working, but I think, there's a different crossover between companies like our size.
Yeah, 100%.
In comparison, yeah.
And then they bring up Regis, kind of taking on the name of co-working when in reality it's just office leasing.
Yeah, they're doing well though. They do well.
Well, they do well, but I don't mean to crap on them.
No.
We have a lot of people that come in for tours and end up becoming members because they actually see, they're like, oh, this is what we were looking for this whole time.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, they just have an office, and then they might have receptionists, right? So
they have no community though. It's like walking down a slim. They always. Totally. I hear the story so much, like walking down a hallway, and you might run into somebody on the way to the bathroom. And you might say hi, and you tuck your head down, and you walk past.
Yeah, totally.
But I think it's like that commercial corporate ideology of like, okay, take something that's popular. The word co-working is popular. Let's call what we've done forever co-working, but it's not really.
The thing is with Regis is the other half of them is spaces, and so they created spaces to kind of compete with WeWork, and they're once again just a different animal. They've been around for a very, very long time. They're global. They're branded, but they don't bring in these small communities that we're building. Like that's it's not their business model, to be quite honest. So
they go for huge companies that they can get
a floor.
Yeah,
100%.
And not even what I've understood from what kind of is killing them in some ways is those major contracts with big companies that like they have to no matter what location. If like 100 Apple employees want to come into your location for that day, they can, and it's not any extra for your location. Like it's like it's a Regis plan, but if you're you can buy in as like they've tried to get us to buy into Regis early on into Fountainhead and pay them so much to be an official Regis thing. It's like, well, we don't want our place to be packed with people that aren't actually paying this location. It's paying the company as a whole. It's paying. So it was just not beneficial for anybody involved, and I don't know how they're doing with the big spaces they are, and just like how unpleased I've. People talk about them.
I can't tell you across the board. I have visited one where I'm meeting a caregiver there, and they're like, it's packed. I'm like, wow. I was surprised by it, but they have their niche. If you're I don't know, maybe like therapist or something like that kind of place works because you're doing like kind of X amount of hours. You can just share an office with somebody else. That's where that works. They have their space for it. But I think what we're doing in Vancouver, what Makeshift is doing is, we're in Strathcona. So we ended up being very shaped by our community, which, by the way, mind blowing. Like I've always been an East fan, and then I'm in Strathcona, which is really just a hop, skip, and a jump, like throw a rock. And it's this incredible community.
Yeah.
Like it really is amazing. It blew my mind. I didn't even know it was right there.
Yeah.
But so we ended up being shaped by that. We have a lot of companies in there that work, with people in the downtown and east side. And we have a lot of tech. We just ended up having a lot of tech. It kind of organically moved that way.
Yeah.
Not that we're not open to everything. We are.
Yeah.
But
tech people of all this is just what it's filled with. I find that I'd say close to half of our
Yeah.
membership base have something to do with the tech industry in some, either a programmer or like just coding, like
Sure.
everybody, or video game developers, anything like to do with like technology.
Yeah.
That's who are coming into the space, because I think they also think very like they're evolving constantly and think modernly. I was don't know if that's a
Yeah.
word, but like they will just, so they know how beneficial these kinds of places are, and that's why I think they flourish in these places. They come to these places because they
Yeah.
just think differently and outside the box and know how beneficial this can be.
Well, I think a lot of them, they have head offices that are in, the United States. Like my partner's like that. His office is in California. He also works on a team that's global.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he wants to be in our office at home. Probably not.
Yeah.
That's why he comes to the co-working space. But and then it gives him the flexibility. He's talking to people who are like, oh, they're in Europe. That's an 8-hour time difference. You know what I mean? It just gives him that flexibility, and he doesn't have to worry about kids being around when he's, if it's late at night or if it's early in the morning.
Yeah.
He really has that kind of flexibility. So I think that that's what's happened to the tech sector, is that they're recruiting worldwide,
Yeah.
and so then you end up being the only person in your team in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so what do? Like, you have to find connection somewhere, and that's why you go to co-working. So I think that's why there's so many tech people in co-working spaces.
Yeah, 100%. That makes complete sense. You said you're in Strathcona, and how
Yes.
great that community is. Like I never spent a bunch of time there. Like growing up, my grandma, my nonna, was in East Van forever.
Yeah.
I would sometimes go, always stop just before Strathcona, but like coming and visiting your space, just the vibes, the art centric
100%.
kind of like vibes of the town. It's so cool. I love the look of your space. Like I just absolutely think it's just a cool looking building. Very
Yeah.
different out of the colors, everything of like that area. Just speak to me personally. Like when it comes to our space, the vibrancy and the colors and just color poppingness.
Yeah. It's a word.
Yeah. But just so like I love what you brought to the table. When we went and saw the space, it really opened our eyes to what it could be, like
Yeah.
what we could do too. Obviously
I don't know what Port Moody's like, but Strathcona, like the BIA there, they want people to invest in art and things like that. So we have Van Mural Fest, which is amazing. Every year I'm like, some beautiful mural pops up in the back lane, or like one half of our building is completely just a mural done by a local artist, and the front has a mural as well. So we're really kind of blessed to be immersed in that artist community. It's like Strathcona is a very interesting, eclectic vibe.
Port Moody is literally called the City of the Arts. That's like what they're called. It's this.
How did I not know that?
It's like it's on the sign. It's you drive down Murray Street where we are. It's just you see a lot of murals. The pubs and the breweries are just like, every one of them has their own flair, but there's a lot of artists that work on those spaces too, that do murals for them. Rocky Point always has festivals. Like here, Site B, down the event space, constant, just like different kind of community events.
You guys have that huge, like, I don't know if it's a beer crawl or what it was. It's during the summer. I've come out to it a couple times.
Oh, right at Rocky Point there?
It's unbelievable.
They
Just
have
right down this. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Right down the street, packed.
Yeah.
Like just a vibrant community, and this particular area too. I mean, it's just been a growing area for the brewery industry, and so we talk about it. Like in Vancouver, we'll be like, okay, well, let's go there because there's just so many places to explore. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, breweries and co-working go hand in hand. Honestly, it's the same kind of vibes. The difference between a pub, I find, like a pub or a club, to a brewery, is you get more of that community going into their favorite brewery, same kind of people all the time. That whole Cheers vibe, like the everybody knows your name type, is literally, that's what you get here. And you the amount of people we've like ran into on our own time going into Brave, because we are like partners with Brave down there. But, like, people that are kind of part of our community, but not yet. But then we see them there randomly, and that brings them here because they met people that were part of this community here.
Yeah.
And just like walking down the street can get you so much business. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I'm a pro wrestler too. I run a pro wrestling company.
Really?
We did a wrestling show here at the beginning of the month. First time in Port Moody, first time in this building. We had over 300 people. And then because I had I actually know, saw the list of names of people who purchased tickets. I'm like, oh, LinkedIn, right? Let's see who these people are. All of them are business, like most of them are business owners, entrepreneurs. And it's just like when you got that many people coming into one space, and usually I know I've been doing pro wrestling for over 20 years. So it's like, I know most of the names of these people. When we bring it to Port Moody and it's like that many people come in, and it wasn't because we promoted it to just our co-working members. It was like, no, all these new people that found out about our business from being here, and not just seeing like what Port Moody actually has as a population. It's significant how many people are doing their own thing here.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been better for us. I know that, just the difference in just cities, just people that work out of here, and just walk into a space and instantly feel like the vibe of just like almost home. And that's what we want. And it's not even just like, why would people want to leave home for home? But it's more of that, like, the comfort level. That's where we sell it as home. It's like you come in here and you instantly feel comfortable and relaxed, even if you have to get shit done.
You know what? We're lucky too that we're right above Strathcona Brewery, like literally same building, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then the entire area there at Hastings and Clark, there's probably at least five or six breweries. So we have every Thursday, we have Thirsty Thursdays. So a group of us will go out and we just visit all the different breweries. They're all small local breweries, all doing amazing things. And we're in a very blessed area. Like it's awesome for that. And that's another moment for people to come together. It's always interesting when you're sitting beside somebody, working beside them, you're like, hey, what's going on, Tom? You know that guy. And then you go out and have a drink and you're like, what does Tom do? What do you do? And like, you find out all these amazing, interesting things about people. And so, that's just one of our moments where we try to bring people together. But and you don't have to have a beer to go to a brewery, by the way.
No, that's a beauty thing.
Tell people all the time, you can just have pop.
Aaron and I decided to quit drinking it's been almost a year.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then about 6 months after we do that, we end up partnering with these guys.
The brewery.
So it's like the timing's hilarious, but it's actually a good thing, I guess, because we'd probably be drinking a whole lot more. Being partners with that, but going to those events, they have they're even learning, like it's the social aspect of a brewery that's the selling point. So they have a lot more non-alcoholic drinks they're working on now, and just it's that vibe of having just people there talking to one another.
I know.
Those industries, that's why I say they're kind of hand in hand. You're just getting different things done. Yeah, like you're socializing there, and that's what that selling point is in the community. But here, you can come to a co-working space, do the same thing, but get your work done at the same time. But you get that same camaraderie. You get that same. We do Thirsty Thursdays here.
Do you?
Every 4 o'clock every Thursday, because we have the partnership with the brewery, so we have our kegerator.
You kind of have to.
Yeah. So we have it on tap here, and we used to have it like beer on tap for our members all the time, like left it open. Once we moved here, I think it's just a bigger drinking crowd that we were like, no, now we're gonna lock it up and then have it, like, if one of our members asks, like, go have a beer, we'll unlock it for them.
Yeah.
But then the Thursdays is like the day we unlock it, like people just do what they want. But it's definitely a little bit nicer being partnered with a brewery. I don't think we're probably getting close to half an hour, but I want you to tell all of our listeners and our people watching this podcast, like, how they can find out more about Makeshift Spaces and like social media accounts. Especially like I run into a lot of people out here that we have members that are as far as like Langley and stuff. But it's mostly for the point where they can come in here, use meeting rooms or whatever, because they're meeting with a client from here or somewhere closer. Like it's a meeting point in the middle.
Yeah.
We do have like a lot of people that go into Vancouver, obviously, to have meetings. So like we always want to send them to people that, like, if they're looking for what we do, send them there. So people that listen to this, if they're in Vancouver, I want them to come to you.
Awesome. Thank you. We're, so the name of our business is Makeshift Workspace. Like I said, we're in Strathcona, just like Hastings and Clark. we have a beautiful boardroom. We have other meeting rooms. We have small offices that people can rent out. We have desks that you can drop in and just work for the day. We are quite luckily situated right off the bike path, so we have underground parking for bikes. We actually have showers. It's a pretty small building. It's unbelievable, but they made these brand new showers in our hallway, and so that's another end of trip facility that you can use. We have good coffee, I think. Yeah. I don't drink coffee. I'm a tea person, so there's a great tea service there as well. But
you still got the same machine that was there.
Yeah,
that was great. It was one of the we ended up getting one similar, I think.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, but then we don't we have a paid one downstairs. I think we turned it into a pay one. Yeah. Because we just do Keurigs now. But.
Yeah. You know what? It was like. I knew that was one of the most important things. So,
yeah, 100%.
You know, my partner was really into coffee. He now drinks decaf. So we actually have, you know, caffeinated decaf. Because I'm like, you know, people, I don't know if you should be drinking coffee after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, if you want to sleep that night. So
I could drink a coffee and go to sleep like instantly after. So I have a caffeine addiction. So
yeah. So yeah, those are our options. Our website is makeshiftworkspace.com. Same branding. It might be Makeshift Spaces on social media. So like Insta is like Makeshift Spaces, at Makeshift Spaces. But you can get all of our links off of our website, and you can check us out. And there's, you know, a lot of pictures about what we do and our community. So we're always happy to have people just come try us for the day. You know, we'll definitely give you a complimentary day. And like I said, it's important to go and see if you're thinking about a desk, like, is this my vibe? If you're looking to rent a boardroom, our boardroom's awesome. So it's about 122 square feet. It's got a huge desk that's actually movable, so you can use the space for other things as well, and projector and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's us.
That's amazing. I am so happy that you came on. I mean, I feel like it's a long time coming. But I can't believe it's been like four or five years. Almost 5 years now.
I know.
So it's time's flying. But I really appreciate this. I am so happy that after these few years and just like we're both still kicking it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It definitely was a struggle.
Yeah,
with all those things we talked about, just like being thrown at us anytime. Seemed like the wheels are turning finally. There's always something
a new thing in the environment.
But I think that's just business. You have to evolve, and that's if you learn how to pivot, then you should be able to keep succeeding. I mean, some things are just out of your control. You can be a highly successful business.
Yeah, starting a business is a risk, no matter who you are, what you're doing, whether you have overhead or not. It's, you know, you have to know that going in. You're taking these chances. We've got walloped with a few different things, but, you know, we came out the back end and we're still hanging around, and we still have our beautiful community, and, you know, we're looking to grow and add to it. So yeah, if anybody's interested in coming to visit us or check us out or have a beer with us on Thursday, you're more than welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Monique.
Thank you.
And
thanks, Mike.
Thank you all for watching or listening today. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channels. This has been amazing. I love talking co-working. It's definitely become such a big part of my life. I know Monique here too, just because it basically envelops like everything about you, and you kind of just it becomes part of you, and I would have never have known about it really until we jumped 2 feet in and really saw what this industry could bring. So I'm so thankful for Monique coming on today as well. Just if you're in Vancouver, definitely check them out. Makeshift Workspace. Great vibes, great people. Obviously, you got to meet Monique, and just absolutely amazing. So thank you for watching, and tune into the next episode of The Community. Have a good one.